so nerve-wracking. Hey guys, I just wanted to go live in here for day 3. I know we didn't do anything for day 2 yesterday, so I wanted to go live today, and I found this really amazing document that another coach shared in a group that I'm a part of, and I thought it was really interesting, and I think it's going to be really helpful. I'll post it in the file section, but I think it's a really great document, not just for like what we're doing, but for anything that you do in your life. So I wanted to go ahead and read it out loud to you, and then I'll post it in the file section of this group, which is located in the upper right hand corner, and it's a little info button. It's like an eye with a circle around it. So make sure you like purge through that if you haven't yet, to check out all the other resources that we have in there. But this specific document is about the different phases of new habit forming. So some of you have already experienced this, and I just wanted to share all the different parts. That way you know that whatever you're feeling is normal. Maybe you've already felt all of these things in the past with other things you've tried, but it's just, I think it's really informative to know that these are normal things to feel, and you can kind of prepare yourself for what to expect, so you can avoid some of these things too, or at least know that that everyone goes through it, and you can just like look towards the next phase and know what to expect, so you don't give up, and you can just like move through it and work through these things that might limit you during your challenge. So the first one is the first phase, and this one is anticipation and excitement. So it's when you finally are committing to a change, you're gaining excitement prior to the start date. So maybe you order your challenge pack. I know for me, like whenever I invest in something and spend money on it, I'm excited because I know that I'm like committing and I'm actually going to do it. So you start getting excited for change and a new life. So at this point, you're not telling anyone about it or necessarily shouting it from the rooftops. But you do have a greater chance of success if you do share your commitment that you're making publicly, which is why I like being a coach so much, because whenever I start something new, like a new program, like the Core to Force program that's coming out, I did the sneak peek live on my Facebook to let everyone know that in November and December, that's the program that I'm going to be doing, so they can expect to see more of that from me. And whether you're a coach or not, even before I would share like what I was doing on my fitness journey because I was excited about it. So you're more like, you have a greater chance of success if you share what you're doing publicly. So that accountability keeps us pushing when we want to give up. This is when you should, at this point in your journey before you start, or you can always like revisit this, you know, even if you've like failed or lost excitement. But what you should do if you haven't yet, or if you've lost touch of it, is you should establish your why, which is the reason behind your desire for wanting this change. This is what will help you continue striving for success and progress when you want to give up most. So like for me, like my why is, I just want to be happy, and I want to be an example, and I want to push myself, and I want to improve not necessarily how I look, but like my endurance, and I want to be able to see progress, and I want to be able to like lift heavier or sustain longer periods of cardiovascular activity. So my why is I just like how I feel when I'm, you know, pushing myself hard. And I know that if I can push myself in my like physical activities, then I could push myself and conquer anything in life. And for me, success is like really important, to leave a legacy and impact people. And so the thought of not doing that and the thought of staying the same really scares me and pushes me, and like that's my why. So whenever I feel like I stop feeling it, I just remember that if I stay how I am right now forever, that I will be really unhappy, and I won't be fulfilled from the life that I had lived if I don't change. And I always feel this way even when I'm changing, like I just want more, and I desire more. So that's my why to keep going. And I also, you know, working with older people, because I was a caregiver for a little bit, like I saw a lot of people who were taking, you know, 30 bottles of different pills and on their deathbed. And for me, that was very real. And it's like, we don't think about that when we're young, but like being in front of it and like seeing people on their deathbed and watching people die, and how they passed was very eye-opening, because like when I die, I want to go easy, and I want to know that I did everything in my power I could to be the healthiest version of me, and I took care of myself when I was able to, and that I didn't have to rely on pills, or I want to take care of myself now because I want to avoid like dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and diabetes and you know, having to like lose my eyesight or get my leg amputated. Like, these are all things that have happened to the people that I was taking care of. So that is my why that I've established, and this keeps me like even when I feel like being depressed or like having a fat day or like feeling sorry for myself, I like remember my why, and it at least helps me get off the couch and press play on my program or stay active or do something active. So that's the first phase. So that's what all of you guys should be doing, is developing your why. And then the second phase is fear. So this is when old feelings of failure start creeping in. You start grabbing back onto those limiting beliefs of yourself, maybe that you just don't have what it takes, or that you're always going to be the same size, or that you're just too busy. Whatever your limiting beliefs, you just kind of stop believing in yourself. Like, the fear starts creeping back in after the new excitement of doing something new starts to fade. Maybe you've already been doing it for a week or whatever. Or maybe you haven't even started yet. So this phase is like not actually wanting to start your journey. So fear in this phase can completely derail any previous excitement to start. And this can be with your business too, like if you're a brand new coach. So it can leave you in that limbo mode of, I will start on Monday, or I will start January 1st, or tomorrow will be the day where I'll do it right, you know, where I won't binge on muffins or whatever. That day will keep coming and going until you refocus on your why you're doing this. So phase 3 is the actual like getting. So when you get started, it's a feeling a sense of accomplishment and pride, satisfaction that you're actually doing it, you actually started. Goal setting, oftentimes unrealistic, which the unrealistic goals you set can later lead to feelings of failure, you know, trying to be perfect, wanting to be a size 2 like you were in high school or whatever. And about 1 to 2 weeks of this before the next phase starts creeping in. So the getting started, you're like excited, you have pride, accomplishment, satisfaction that you're doing it, and you're actually setting goals and you're like visualizing yourself accomplishing that. And then 1 to 2 weeks after that, you get into phase 4, which is the overwhelm and frustration phase. So that's when you start feeling pain. New muscles are being used. It's hard to keep going because you just want to take a rest day. So you're starting to lack confidence because it hurts, and maybe you realize you're way more out of shape than you even thought. So you start comparing yourself and your progress to others. This could be at your job that you started, and maybe everyone else is getting promoted and you're not. So compare and despair within starts setting in. So new and different. You know, everything's new and different. You're feeling uncomfortable with the change. You're questioning your commitment. And that's coupled with fear and hope. So there is no room for success when you have both fear and hope competing against one another. And this phase 4, you have the fear and the hope. So you're scared to mess up, and you know, you're scared to quit or to fail again because you've done it so many times, right? We've all done it so many times, especially me. This is when you must, in this overwhelm and frustration phase, you must refocus on why you committed to wanting this change in the first place. What are the benefits that you need from this experience? Because you often get the experience right after you need it, right? Not when you need it, but right after. And this is really good if you're just starting your business too as a new coach. The overwhelm and frustration phase, you start realizing that, you know, you don't have any customers, or you don't have a social media presence, and you start comparing yourself to other new coaches that are maybe killing it. So this is why you have to refocus on why you started. You know, do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to be able to pay for your Shakeology? why did you start this? You know, did you want to surround yourself in a community of positive women? So just refocusing on why you began. And what are the benefits that you need from being on a team of positive, like-minded coaches who are learning and growing? So why is it important that you stick with it? So this phase is when you need to assess your plan and make some small tweaks so that your plan fits into your schedule. So it's going to reduce your stress. So maybe not trying to do everything right away, maybe just focusing on drinking your Shakeology, doing your workouts, and posting your accountability, and that's it. Maybe that's what your tweak looks like, instead of trying all these new recipes and feeling like you need to go grocery shopping when you can just work with what you have if you can't afford to buy whatever you want. So it also will reduce your anxiety when you reassess, and it allows you to achieve success. Consider meal planning on a Sunday, freezing meals, pre-packaging snacks, committing to less workouts a week until you get a handle on your new habit. So, if you have one day where you're going to school for 10 hours a day, or you work 10 hours a day and then you have 2 evening classes or something, maybe you make that your rest day. But not giving up, just kind of making the small tweaks and knowing that's what works with my lifestyle right now. I don't need to feel like I have to be like this person or like Alexis and do it every single day, even though I'm not perfect. But just knowing I don't have to compare myself to that person who works from home full time when I'm not there yet. That's not what my life looks like, and just being okay with you're modifying for your life and accepting that. So the 5th phase is called the transition phase. That's when you begin to establish new habits while fighting against the old ones that have been existent for decades. For most of us, you're making progress, but you still see some old habits resurface, whether it's binging or negative self-talk. Totally normal. This transition can either leave someone feeling empowered if they're able to fight the urges and the cravings, or fight giving into the couch bed, or feeling defeated if they give into cravings, urges, or give into the couch bed, just chillaxing or whatever. So you can either feel empowered or defeated depending on what you choose to do with your time. So either way, this is the time that you need to refocus your why and remember why you committed to change in the first place. So you have to do the big picture thing, and Aaron and I, a lot of the times we say we'll play the tape all the way out, so if we say you wanted to go to In-N-Out Burger last night and it's 11 p.m. and it's totally something I wanted to do last night. So you play that out and you think about, you're already tired, you're in bed, you already eat dinner, you already worked out that day. You'll have to get in the car, drive there. It'll be midnight or later than that when you actually go to bed, and you'll wake up and you have to think about how you'll feel that day, and if you really need those extra calories or if you already got all your containers in. So that's what I thought about. I played it all the way through, and I was if I keep doing that, that's negatively going to compound, and my life isn't going to be what I want it to be. So what does your life look like if you give up now? So if you give into that craving, obviously one meal's not going to hurt you, but in the beginning of these phases you have to think about it, because you're really fighting to rewire your brain and rewire your habits. So what does your life look like if you give up now? So for me, I wouldn't have anything for me. My life, I would have nothing, my friends I get from social media, being in a new city and everything. I wouldn't have accountability. I wouldn't have a sense of belonging. I feel I'd be really depressed and really lonely if I gave up. And I just can't imagine giving up. So what benefits do you need from this commitment? So just refocus on what you need to gain. Whether it, whatever habits you need to gain, just refocus on what you need from this. Whether it's fitting into clothes again, or maybe you join because you have a really bad digestive system or you have health issues. So refocus on the benefits that you need to get from your health journey. So the next phase is phase 6, and it's gaining momentum. So this is when you start seeing results. You're feeling pride and a sense of accomplishment because you kind of pushed through that like shitty period. You're gaining pride and excitement and want to share what you're doing. Like you actually feel like you have something to talk about now because you're committing to more. Maybe you start adding in workouts, or maybe you can like go part-time at your job if you're doing really well with your business. So you can start like pushing your limits, adding more workouts. Week 2 of that. So after week 2 of gaining this momentum and feeling really good about yourself, I know a lot of you have reached this phase where you see a little bit results. You've been meal prepping for a couple of weeks. Week 2 of that sets in and the exhaustion comes back. So there's the fear of the lack of sustainability. You're like, how long can I actually keep this up? You kind of start getting nervous. The fear of losing this progress, of losing this momentum is very real. I love that we're talking about this. Like, I feel like this is really helping me. It's the first time I've read through all this whole document. So maybe you take a rest day, and then 2, you kind of slow down and you ease up. You stop being so strict on yourself maybe with your diet, or you start eating things that you like normally weren't eating the first week. Maybe you reached your first goal. So you were focused on a destination of like where you were gonna be, not a journey. And I'm so guilty of that. Like, especially with the cleanse that I did, I just focused on what I was gonna look like at the end of the cleanse, and like that was gonna be it. And I wasn't really focused on like the journey of what it would look afterwards. So I had to quickly like come up with a new plan and realize that I need to plan my rest of the year out with what I'm going to be doing, because it's not just like I'm going to get somewhere and it's going to be like good enough finally, because that never happens. So maybe you were like me and you got too focused on a destination, and so you reverted to old ways. So seeing scale or measurement, like if you check your progress and the scale or the measurement or the photos isn't what you hope for, and then you run for a quick fix. So desire to bail on the existing plan and schedule, because as humans we like to overcomplicate things. So you have like all the tools, you have like a workout schedule and like a simple shake and a community that will support you and you can check in with to keep you accountable, and you decide to bail on that plan because it's like too simple, like it can't be that easy. So you decide to bail and look for a quick fix. And this is all really normal. Like, these are all things I've done. So this is at this point, after you've gained momentum and this starts setting in, this is when you must remember that it is a journey, not a destination. You have to trust in the process. You have to trust the program you are doing and the nutrition plan works. You have to do a gut check with yourself and ask yourself, are you actually following the meal plan? I had to do that the other day because I realized that I like told someone that I don't actually use the 21-day fix containers. Like, I just eyeball it, and someone called me out on it, and I'm really glad that happened, because like my eyes are a lot bigger than the containers are sometimes, even if I think I know it because I've been doing it for so long. So you have to ask yourself, like, are you actually following the meal plan? Are you eating out? Are you pushing in your workouts? Like, are you not just pushing play and like getting them over with, but are you actually like getting heavier weights? You know, if you're using 10-pound weights for your heavies, like, have you gone out to the store and bought 12s? What small changes do you need to make in order to see the results you are after? So that's your gut check. Then always circle back to your why and remember what it means to you to stick with this commitment and trust that it will work one day at a time. So phase 7, these are the last 2 phases. So phase 7 is you start slipping into old habits. So old emotions start returning. That negative self-talk starts making you question if you can do it. Memories of past failures starts reducing your confidence levels. Like, I've gotten really good results before and then lost them. So for me to start again, it's like scary because I start thinking about like those times I've failed, and it brings my confidence down. So fear of failure again, losing credibility as a coach or just as a person, and your pride, losing your pride. So maybe you start cheating and skipping workouts, and then the vicious cycle of guilt, eat more, skip more, starts happening. So this is when you must break the cycle. Just because you fell down doesn't mean you should stay there. Get back up and refocus, and then circle back to why you started, because now is not the time to give up. So yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Like, you start gaining momentum, and as soon as that happens, you start slipping into old habits. So when that happens, circle back to why you started. And then phase 8 is the defeated phase. So that's when you're completely throwing in the towel. The embarrassment, the defeat, the negative self-talk, the self-sabotage all sits in. You start returning to old feelings of yourself, doubting your ability to ever create change in your life. And at this point, when you feel like completely throwing in the towel, you're embarrassed, the self-sabotage and self-talk is like really real. So this is when you must ask for help and do not hide. So no one is disappointed in you, and you pretty much have to call yourself out. So I've had to do that before, and it's like really hard because you know that you're stuck there, and you know that not anything anyone's going to say is necessarily going to pull you out, and you know that. But I knew at that point, and this was with my business, but I knew at that point I needed to tell people that I was feeling this way, and that I was like thinking about quitting, and I forgot why I was even doing it, and I didn't know if I enjoyed it. And I talked to people every single day. I told them that I felt like this, and I told them that, you know, that I didn't feel like, I don't know, I just like shared what I was feeling every single day, even though I was feeling defeated, and that really helped. So I made sure I didn't hide, even though I was like hiding. I made sure that I told people why I was feeling that way. So this journey takes time and takes persistence. Success happens when you keep picking yourself back up. This entire phase, no one is exempt from it, which is why I'm sharing it. Success happens when you keep picking yourself back up, and this document says get the fuck back up, and message your coach or post in the group, let us help you get started again. Every single one of us in here has gone through this or will go through it, so be that person that's not afraid to call yourself out. So circle back to why you want and need to change, and remember the benefits you felt when you did it the first time. So to avoid falling into any phases of downward spiral or defeat, you must return to your why, if you notice that theme. So why you want to change, why you committed to the journey in the first place, what are the benefits you want to feel, what are the benefits of your life if you stick with the plan, for your life if you stick with the plan, and what would your life look like if you gave up again. So I'm going to post those like last closing questions in this video, so you guys can all comment below and answer them, and then I'll put the doc in the file section. But yes, that is all I wanted to share. So I hope everyone has a good Wednesday, and thanks for watching.